Saya masukin ya.
Oke. Baik, selamat siang Bapak Ibu dan rekan sekalian. Perkenalkan, saya Nurma, MC dalam kegiatan webinar siang ini. Kita masih menunggu peserta lainnya yang akan hadir bersama kita. Mohon bersabar dahulu. Pastikan audio Anda dalam posisi mute. Acara akan kita mulai 4 menit lagi.
Systems and applications are the engines of today's business, and in this digital world, application trouble equals business trouble. That's why organizations need to monitor and visualize the performance of applications to ensure everything goes smoothly. And when there is an error, that's when trouble happens. Users are increasingly intolerant of slow performance. Delays of seconds can result in lost business, angry customers, and damage to the brand. Respond to IT issues with SendQuick notification management system. An efficient solution that has monitoring capabilities and sending alerts to provide real-time visibility into your application performance. When your network infrastructure is down, an alert is sent via your preferred channel to your dedicated team on duty. When your security system is down, alerts are sent. When your applications are down, alerts are sent. Contact us for more information.
This is Bill, the IT manager. He feels confident that he has installed IT infrastructure monitoring tools to detect and diagnose any IT issues. But he doesn't have SendQuick. Until one fine day.
Why can't I click to purchase?
Hey, what's wrong with this network? I can't send this urgent email out. Where are you, Bill? What's wrong with our systems?
Meanwhile, at the cafe,
Bill, where are you? Don't you know the office is in chaos now?
Bill rushed back to the office to find out the problem from his monitoring tools. Server A is down. Now, who is on duty to fix this?
How come you are not aware of the problem? We receive so many complaints from our customers.
There must be a better way around this. Let's see. Aha! SendQuick. With easy installation, now I can receive information on potential issues right into my mobile device. Boss, there's been a network failure, but we discovered it early, and the problem has been fixed.
Oh, is it? I didn't even know that was a problem. Keep up the good work, Bill.
SendQuick, be the first to know. For more info, contact us now.
Baik, kita akan mulai webinar hari ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang Bapak Ibu dan rekan sekalian, kita akan mulai webinar hari ini. Terima kasih atas kehadirannya. Jika ada pertanyaan dapat disampaikan dalam kolom chat dan nanti akan kita bahas dalam sesi Q&A. Dapatkan door prize berupa voucher Oppo senilai Rp100.000 untuk 3 orang terpilih. Webinar ini didukung oleh Aptiknas, Asosiasi Pengusaha Teknologi Informasi dan Komunikasi Nasional, Event Cerdas One Stop Digital Transformation Service, dan media partner biskom.web.id, portal IT, dan media hukum. Kami dari PT Daya Cipta Mandiri Solusi selaku partner dari SendQuick, dan dalam kesempatan ini kita akan membahas mengenai SendQuick Helping Digital Transformation. Di sini sudah ada Bapak Pangki Christian selaku Direktur PT Daya Cipta Mandiri Solusi yang akan menyampaikan presentasinya dan sekaligus menjadi moderator dalam webinar hari ini. Dan untuk narasumber kita hari ini akan disampaikan oleh Mr. J.S. Wong selaku CEO SendQuick Pte. Ltd. Untuk waktu dan screen-nya saya persilahkan.
Oke, terima kasih Mbak Nurma. Selamat siang rekan-rekan semua. Selamat bertemu kembali dalam webinar kita yang seyogyanya biasanya hari Kamis, tapi kita majukan di hari ini karena memang ada beberapa kegiatan yang akan kita lakukan di Rabu Kamis ya, terkait dengan digital transformation. Jadi saya mengundang teman-teman yang ada di Jakarta khususnya bisa hadir ke JCC, mengikuti DTI CX ya, expo terkait dengan digital transformation yang baru kembali diadakan di Jakarta ya. Silakan teman-teman yang mau hadir bisa hadir datang. Kami ada booth di sana di Aptiknas booth. Nanti bisa hadir bertemu dengan teman-teman sekalian yang nanti ada di sana. Oke, jadi sebelum masuk ke dalam sesi Mr. J.S. Wong, izinkan saya untuk menyampaikan presentasi singkat karena ini ada satu bahasan yang kemarin juga sempat saya buat artikelnya di berbagai media ya. Jadi tentang kenapa sih transformasi itu gagal gitu ya, transformasi digital khususnya itu gagal. Jadi saya akan mau coba highlight ada beberapa hal. Jadi yang pertama ini adalah kegagalan strategi transformasi. Jadi kadang-kadang kita tidak melihat ya kapasitas dan kemampuan dari usaha kita masing-masing gitu ya. Mungkin teman-teman yang punya ini harus bisa lihat kita ada di stage yang mana sih ya, ada di stage 1, 2, 3, atau 4, atau 5 gitu ya. Nah ini masing-masing kebutuhan tentang sistemnya juga sangat berbeda. Kebutuhan tentang transformasi digitalnya juga sangat berbeda. Nah jadi ini mungkin teman-teman mesti bisa lihat apa sih kira-kira yang menjadi concern di tiap stage ini. Nah ini adalah salah satu bahasan di Harvard Business Review ya. Nah, apa saja yang berikutnya? Nanti saya akan di slide terakhir saya akan minta teman-teman untuk memilih apa saja sih yang kira-kira mungkin teman-teman rasakan di tempat teman-teman sekalian gitu ya. Yang berikutnya adalah kurang agile ya. Perusahaan atau instansi Anda kurang agile. Agile itu apa sih? Lincah untuk mengikuti perkembangan yang terjadi. Ya, mungkin kemarin-kemarin kita nggak biasa pakai Zoom, sekarang kita semua pakai Zoom gitu kan. Tapi banyak orang juga yang saya nggak mau pakai Zoom, saya nggak mau pakai ini, tetap harus ketemu, tetap harus ini. Nah itu salah satu kendala ya. Jadi kemampuan kita untuk bisa beradaptasi dengan hal-hal baru ini menjadi sangat penting dalam transformasi bisnis rekan-rekan sekalian. Dan transformasi ini pasti akan melibatkan, mau tidak mau sekarang ini melibatkan digital transformation, karena kita sekarang ada di era digital. Yang berikutnya adalah tidak ada sumber daya. Jadi banyak juga yang cerita ke saya, oh mereka nggak punya orang Pak, kami nggak punya orang yang khusus siap bisa bantu terkait dengan sumber daya untuk bisa mendukung digital transformasi gitu ya. Karena 3 komponen ini, people, process, dan tools, pasti tetap akan perlu sumber daya. Nah sumber daya ini bukan cuma orang sebetulnya. Sumber daya ini juga ada hubungannya dengan people, selain people ada proses dan tools ya. Termasuk juga kemampuan finansial. Jadi ada juga yang tidak bisa melakukan transformasi digital, juga kendalanya karena kemampuan finansial terbatas. Ya, yang berikutnya adalah, nah ini yang menarik, salah pilih teknologi. Ya, salah pilih teknologi ini juga sangat besar ya. Jadi ada yang mungkin kita buzzword tentang digital transformation ini mungkin sudah 4 sampai 5 tahun lah. Tapi kenapa ada teknologi yang kita sudah pakai misalnya 3 tahun terakhir ini, tapi kok kurang tepat gitu ya. Nah, ini nanti kita akan coba lihat salah satu teknologi yang dibuat oleh SendQuick. SendQuick ini establishnya 2001 ya, teman-teman. Jadi sudah lama sekali ya, ketemu saya 2005. Jadi perusahaan kami menjadi partnernya SendQuick itu 2005. Jadi udah cukup lama sekali. Tapi teknologinya sampai sekarang masih ada dan berkembang terus. Jadi ini nomor 4 kesalahan berikutnya adalah penolakan dari dalam atau internal. Jadi banyak sekali penolakan yang terjadi itu karena dari dalam, dari tempat kita bekerja sendiri gitu ya. Nah ini yang memang menjadi salah satu kendala. Jadi ada 5 hal terkait dengan kenapa transformasi digital itu gagal. Nah saya ingin teman-teman memberikan masukan ya. Silakan akses ke menti.com. Silakan akses ke menti.com, kodenya 88038987 ya. Silakan akses ke menti.com. Masukin kodenya 88038907 ya. Bisa lihat angkanya ya. Di chat kita munculin ya. Di chat. Silakan akses ke menti.com, kodenya 88038987. Nah, menurut teman-teman apa yang menjadi kendala ya di tempat teman-teman sekalian ya? Apa yang menjadi kendala transformasi digital di tempat teman-teman sekalian. Jadi silakan memilih, kita akan lihat hasilnya ya. Kita akan lihat hasilnya. Sudah ada yang masuk kah? Ke menti.com. Silakan, sudah ada yang masuk kah ke menti.com? Kodenya ini ya, kodenya 88. Nah, oke, ya, 88038987. Kurang lincah, oke, kaku ya. Usaha atau tempat teman-teman ada yang kurang lincah atau kaku. Ada lagi penolakan dari internal, ini juga banyak. Tidak ada resources. Ya, silakan. Teman-teman silakan mengisi apa yang menjadi kendala di dalam transformasi digital di tempat Anda. Apa yang menjadi kendala transformasi digital di tempat Anda? Tidak ada resource ya. Resource ini bisa orang, bisa proses, bisa tools, bisa dana juga gitu ya. Ini transformasi digital, kendala transformasi digital di tempat Anda. Silakan, ada lagi yang mau memasukkan baru sedikit nih. Silakan teman-teman, saya tunggu yang bisa menyampaikan bahan masukannya buat kita. Kendala transformasi, gagal strategi, juga ada gagal strategi ya. Jadi silakan akses ke menti.com, kemudian masukkan kodenya 88038987. 88038987. Kurang lincah, oke. Ada lagi yang lain, ini baru 10% belum ini. Baru 5 orang yang memberikan masukan. Silakan. Salah teknologi sudah mulai muncul. Penolakan, oke. Saya mau tahu nih di Indonesia nih mana sih yang paling banyak gitu ya? Yang paling banyak kita lihat terjadi problemnya kendala transformasi digital Anda ya. Silakan. 6 ya, kita tunggu nih sebentar lagi. Silakan teman-teman masuk ke menti.com, kodenya 88038987. 88038987. Ada? Ada lagi? 9. Oke, 10. Saya tunggu satu orang lagi. 10. Tidak ada resources. Oke, ini yang paling banyak kelihatannya ya. Tidak ada resources, penolakan, kurang lincah, gagal strategi, salah teknologi. Ya, ini adalah gambaran dari apa namanya? Gambaran dari apa yang teman-teman masukkan terkait dengan kendala transformasi digital tempat Anda. Nah, dalam kesempatan siang kali ini kita akan mendengarkan sharing dari SendQuick. Jadi dulu namanya adalah Talariax. Kemudian mungkin 2 tahun ini berganti nama menjadi SendQuick. Perusahaannya tetap sama, ya. Produk yang ditawarkan juga more or less sama, tapi berkembang terus sampai sekarang. Dan produk ini memang sudah ada bersama dengan kami dari tahun 2005 masuk di Indonesia, ya. Nanti akan disampaikan dalam bahasa Inggris, tapi nanti apabila ada kendala silakan teman-teman bisa sampaikan. Let me introduce Mr. G.S. Wong from SendQuick Pty Ltd, Singapore. Thank you, G.S. Wong. Hello, G.S.
Yeah, hi, Pak Frankie. Hi, everyone.
Yeah,
Good afternoon, selamat siang.
yeah, G.S. From Singapore. He's sick now, COVID, but happy.
Don't worry, I'm very far away.
And can share to us about how the SendQuick helping the digital transformation. GS met me around 2003 something, right, GS? And then our company brought the solution since 2005. Yeah. So let GS present the slides, and after that we do some quick Q&A ya. Silakan teman-teman ada yang bertanya sampaikan di kolom chat, nanti kita bahas di sesi Q&A. Seperti biasa 3 pertanyaan terbaik akan mendapatkan OVO Rp100.000. Oke, GS, the screen is yours.
Okay, so good afternoon again to everyone. Selamat siang. I'm J.S. Wong from SendQuick Private Limited, Singapore. So let me share my screen first. Okay, able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so for today's session, so when I was asked by Pak Frankie to talk about something about digital transformation, so being a specialist in the area of communication, I want to, instead of having such a broad element of the transformation, which is very broad, I want to make it a bit more focused so that everybody can be a bit more focused. I think just now in the survey, right, in terms of the failure of the digital transformation, so there are many reasons for failure. Can be resources, can be agility, can be support, can be knowledge. So I think sometimes when we want to do digital transformation, it's not to do everything at one go, right? It's to specialize in some area first, and then looking at what technology you have available in your environment to help in those areas. And this is where I want to talk about in my session today, right? Specifically for digital transformation using one area, which is the role of communication. Okay, so if you have anything you want to stop me or any question, you can just feel free to ask. There is the chat panel. I'm sure the organizer will be able to collate all these questions for the Q&A later. Okay, so for the presentation, first we look at in the last 2 years, of course, with the COVID and all these things happening in Indonesia, in Singapore, and also the world. One thing that we have seen a lot is that but one thing that we see a lot basically is that the e-commerce sales has increased tremendously in the whole environment. So I think that's something that we are definitely able to see as a development in this as a result of the COVID, right? So that's one thing. And I think the other thing that we see is that the whole shift of the consumer in terms of using phone, using computer, buying things, transacting online is basically the new dimension for businesses. So you can see that in the retail space alone, of course, there are many other examples. In the retail space, the retail e-commerce sales has been increasing. If you look at the chart here, it's just keep increasing in this way, what I call a hockey stick increasing. Okay, so I think there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of transactions, and people are getting a lot of comfortable, very comfortable in the online space. I'm sure Indonesia, the state Indonesia is one of the leading adoption in mobile. You have companies like Gojek, Tokopedia, where definitely just drive all the e-commerce in Indonesia. Okay, IT is definitely very important to the enterprises, right? Why? Because business processes in a lot of aspects is dependent on IT, or in short, is powered by IT. So if you think about in the very early days of business transactions, which is like your computerization, your accounting function, your ERP, your CRM, the heart of all this automation, of all this being development of productivity, driving this is all IT, right? The starting of computer, the starting of spreadsheet, the starting of all this computerization actually gives a lot more productivity gain to the companies, right? So I think business processes are actually very dependent on IT. And system availability become more important. In fact, it become very critical, right? So when COVID strikes in March 2020, now we're already more than 2.5 years from there. Right? One thing we realized is that the availability of system become more and more critical, because if you're not able to access your system when you're at home, you cannot do anything. Right? Imagine if your internet is not working, your laptop not working, your systems are not working, you literally cannot do anything from home. Okay, so but now you can do so because all the system availability is available, and this actually have a great impact on the business performance. Security, right? Of course, with all this remote working, security is a very important element. It's no longer a consideration, but it's no longer a luxury, but it is a key consideration. Okay, so when your people are working from home, how do you know that when they're logging into your office network, they are the right person and they have the right credentials to do what they are supposed to do? Data protection comes with security, right? So when your security, then you think about how do you ensure that your data is not being compromised, and the integrity of data as well. And lastly, if anything that happens to your environment, how do you manage a fast response in this comparative landscape? So there are actually a lot of elements, and all these will actually have IT to play a role in your organizations. So let's look at some trends in 2022. Okay, as everybody expected, right? You have more mobile workers and more work from home, right? Well, we were forced to do work from home in 2020, but now come 2022, where everybody can do face-to-face meeting, people are still choosing to work from home. So this is a trend. That's not maybe probably just not a trend, but it will be embedded in the way of life, in the way of work, right? In Indonesia, Singapore, and many other countries. Online transactions is still very prevalent, right? So we can see people goes to use Gojek, go to Tokopedia, Bukalapak, and all these different platforms to do their purchases and transactions. But post-COVID, they are still continuing to do so. Customers are continuing to use a lot mobile phone than PCs. Mobile is where the customers live, right? Not only just your communication, but you get your entertainment, your TikTok, your search, your purchase, everything is on the mobile phone, right? So basically, it's the smart devices that goes with you. And because it's given faster and easier, and there's a new demand for people who want things to be done faster and easier for them as well. So I think given all this background, the key challenges for a company, so when you talk about transformation, is that you don't transform because everyone else is talking about it, but you have to transform because how your company needs to meet all the different requirements or different demand from your customers or forced by your competitors in this whole landscape. I think that is where we are looking at, that you ask yourself, the company, before you embark on this transformation, how does your company meet this demand that your customers are demanding today? I think that probably will be the heart of the question that you need to ask for your digital transformation. So looking at that, you look at, well, since these are the demand and trends of the customers, so how does it impact your business operations? You look at operations, what are the operational areas of your business without the supply chain management. There's a financial process, but there's transaction process, there's delivery and fulfillment. Of course, there's also customer engagement. So there are many aspects of the businesses in every organization. But for the interest of time, and like I mentioned earlier when I first started, that we're not going to talk about everything. Let's choose some components that you can actually fulfill or able to embark on your digital transformation with readily technologies. I think one of the failure that Pak Frankie talked about earlier on is the availability of resources. I will presume that resources here refer to financial resources and also human resources, okay? But most of the time, financial resources or human resources is tight because we try to do complicated stuff. We try to use the best technology or maybe something too high-tech kind of stuff, right? But actually bear in mind that the root of transformation is how it can help your business. As long as they help your business, it does not mean that you must use the most high-tech technology. Okay, so I think that's something that which I believe should be the core driving intent of all your transformation process. So from here, we look at digital transformation, how it can impact, what is digital transformation first. So we will define that digital transformation is the integration of digital technology into all areas of business, fundamentally changing how you operate and deliver value to your customers. As you can see here, we didn't say you must use the most high-tech technology. It's to look at the integration of digital technology into all areas of your business that fundamentally change how you operate and deliver value to your customers. Okay, so that is the way we look at digital transformation, and this hopefully is how you should drive your own organization as well. So for today, our focus for an organization will be, right, look at where the customers will be. Okay, we have supply chain, right, deliver to the services, what technology can help you, and the engagement. So to a customer, how the customer experience in the whole delivery of the value to the customer will come from how you get the information on your content or your products, turn with the services, embed with technology, and the whole experience of a customer will evolve in this way. So in today's discussion, I will look at only a few areas. Number one, the transaction process for the customer. Number two, the service delivery, including the product and services. And number three, the customer engagement. But like I mentioned earlier on, there are many other aspects, but let's look at some of the key aspects that communication in particular can help in the whole digital transformation. So transaction process, service delivery, and customer engagement. First, let's look at the messaging component first, right? So in the messaging today, yes, when we first started in SendQuick 20 years ago, we were doing SMS. Today, we still do a lot of SMS. I'm sure you still use SMS, probably not as much as it used to be. But today, the options of messaging to consumer has changed. You look at your phone today actually will have different apps, right? So this is an example that you have different apps, and the top app usage in the world is WhatsApp with more than 2 billion users. Then Facebook Messenger, WeChat, Viber, and so on and so forth. So there are quite a lot, right? In Indonesia, WhatsApp should be the dominant, right? Maybe followed by Facebook, by Telegram, and others, right? So I think this is basically to form a background that, hey, consumer has choices, and consumer may choose one or multiple apps for them to use themselves. So that is the behavior of the consumer. So how do we as a customer take advantage of this? I mentioned again is that the digital transformation does not mean you must use very high-tech technology. As long as technology that you actually adopted into your process deliver value to your customers, it doesn't matter whether it's very high cost or low cost. As long as it makes the difference to your customer, that is the most important. And that is how we should focus the whole framework of the digital transformation. So let's look at the transaction process first. So what does it entail, right? So the first question is that how does a company transact, how the customer transact with your company? So how do they interact with you? Is it a physical store? Is it an online store? Or is it virtual? Is it non-virtual? So these are all, there's no one size fits all. There's no one better than the other. Yes, virtual always seems cheaper, okay, but virtual at the same time do not have the touch and feel the physical store can offer. Similarly, physical store has a constraint of location, which is not able to offer the wide audience of the online store. But at the end of the day, is that really is how your customer transact with your company. You have to make a choice. There's nothing wrong to have both, right? We call hybrid. Then, of course, it's the online transactions. So not everybody want to offer online transactions for whatever reasons. Then how do you build trust, right? So yes, you can build a store, but how do you build trust in the whole transaction? I'm not sure whether you all follow, but in Singapore, in the last 2-3 weeks, there was this trust element being discussed because there's somebody, right, a young couple, ran away with $32 million worth of money, right, to buy branded handbags, branded watches, and the fella just ran away. Okay, so it's a kind of thing that cause problem to the online world, right? Because these people sell in Instagram, they sell in different portals, and they just, well, take the money and run away. So the trust element is so very, but how do you build all these things? And this, if you're in the same trade, right, they will actually impact your business as well. Okay, so these are some things that you need to think about. Is it convenient to customers and buyers, right? So when you do online or online or offline, what's the convenience factor is also very critical. And is it readily accessible, right? Is your stores accessible? Or online is always easier, but if you do online, that means you have to up your service operations to service customer when they purchase anytime they want to. What if they transact at 2 a.m. in the morning? So how do you respond? How fast do you respond? And lastly, is the products and services readily available for them? Okay, so like I mentioned, how fast the response to them. So these are some questions you ask yourself when you want to do a digital transformation in your transaction process. Okay, so how do you transform them if in the very much focus using messaging technology? So number one is that we talk about multi-channel approach, right? So we don't talk about online or offline, we talk multi-channel. So how can you give presence to your users wherever they are, wherever they use? Okay, so I think that's something to think about. It's no longer just online versus offline, but the channel for online, channel for offline can also be a factor. So for example, for the offline, is it always must be a shop? How about I can do an automated vending machine? Right, could be possible. So these are possibilities that can be explored. So for the online, so must it be your online portal? Must it be in Tokopedia or Tokopedia? So it doesn't have to, right? Some people are now selling through WhatsApp. They are selling through Facebook's marketplace. They can also sell through Telegram. So if you are not there, are you missing something? So these are something to think about for your business. Notification for transaction completion, right? So the thing that when you're doing online, there's no, it's what I call faceless, right? So there's no confirmation that, hey, you hand over the receipt, you hand over the goods. So every time you purchase first, you pay first, then you wait. So how can you bridge the gap of information that after you've done the transaction, how do you know that there's a confirmation being done? Yes, you can send an email, or why not send an SMS or send a WhatsApp message? Okay, so that's where small little transactions, small little communication messages are simple but very important. Very important to build that trust and to bridge the gap that people may be missing in the online transaction. Okay, and then when they log into when you want to build trust, right? So one way to do is for two-factor authentication, meaning that if you have an online portal for them to come in to check on their transactions or check on their status, do you offer higher security for two-factor authentication, not only for you to build trust, also for you to protect your data. Remember, right? One thing about e-commerce is that The people who come to your store are not only your customers, can be also the crooks, the hackers, and also probably your competitors. Okay, so you have to be very aware of how you can just secure your information as well. And how do you integrate your supply chain with notifications, right? So notification not only for the consumer, but also for your supplier. So when you are down with your goods, or if you want to reduce your holding costs by doing just in time, how do you do it? Okay, so how can you help or having the whole supply chain to be together with you in the whole process as well? So that portion more on the transaction side. Second part, the service delivery. And the service delivery portion is your services always available? How do you ensure you're always on? Right? Is your business actually always on? Why? Because if you're offline, they cannot find your store. Basically, they can't transact, they can't buy things from you. You are just closed. Okay, if you are closed, it may be not only that you lose business, but if it potentially it can be, if it's unplanned, it can actually lose your reputation. Okay, so how do you keep your customer informed? I imagine, how do you bridge between the online and offline gap? How to keep customer informed? And customer has as the central for all processes. So then in the service delivery portion is that to look at customer as the key focus of how you can deliver your services to them. So in the service transformation, you can talk about service monitoring. So how do you ensure that your applications are always online, always available? So you can actually do it by alerts for online services. So this is something that you can actually do. A lot of customers do that, where there are some events that impacting to the service delivery. You get notification on the phone when something happens. Like omni-channel approach, right? So you don't only send messages through one channel, not only through Telegram alone or WhatsApp, but all channels. Why? Because if you recall back to my earlier slides, that consumer have the choice of messaging. So why you force them to what they don't like? And you should adopt that, hey, what you like, I will go to where you are. Okay, so the companies who are more responsive to what the customers are comfortable with will probably win the customer more. So I think that is very important. Notification to keep customers informed of all key milestones of the transactions. Okay, so should you just send a notification for confirmation of transaction, right? Maybe you can send thank you for your transaction. Now we are packing your goods. Now we are starting to deliver your goods, and should expect your delivery in 2 days' time. Right? So keep them informed at every milestones. Right? This will actually give you the scope, right, for your customers to be very much feel comfortable, right, of your service delivery. And of course, very important for your team, if anything that's impacting your organization service, is to have very fast response to avoid any downtime, especially for digital services. So we're looking at using combination technology, whether is it for alerts or notification, whether is it WhatsApp, SMS, or Telegram, or whatever, right, to actually help your businesses in a way to deliver the services, to make the transaction more much better for your customers. And lastly, in the customer engagement areas, we talk about how does your customer contact you, right? So I think one thing we saw today is that in the past, you want to contact a customer or contact a company, you can always email them or call them. But ironically today, a lot of companies have tried to save costs or whatever, I'm not sure, is that they said, well, don't email me or don't call me, use the chatbot or use the smart assistant. Unfortunately, the assistant not very smart. Okay, in fact, I'm very fed up by using all these so-called smart assistants online, which I think probably I've never able to get assistance at all from them. Okay, so I think you have to understand sometimes certain things, smart assistant is actually useful, or so-called the AI chatbot is useful when for finding very generic things like almost like finding things on Google. Okay, but if customer really need help, you really need to have really smart, or you need to have warm body which is human to help the customers. Okay, so I think this is something that a lot of companies actually forgot about that. And because while smart assistants or AI chatbot is the in thing, let's go in there, but No, customers who are not happy, they don't tell you, okay? Okay. So for every one customer who tell you they're not happy, I think probably you have 10 or 100 who are not happy with you. So I think that's something that we need to be aware. So does customer contact you on your allocated channels, or they choose their preferred channel? And I think it's a very important question. Okay, so how does customer choose to contact you? Is it because you say, call me on this number? Or you can say, well, if you are a customer, you can either you use WhatsApp me this number, use Telegram, this is a channel name. If you use Viber, this is a name. If you use Facebook Messenger, this is a channel. If you use Instagram, this is a name. Right. So I think you look at these two, right? If you want to contact me, this is my phone number and email me or whatever, compared to another company who give me all the options for different channels. Why so many? Okay, why? Because different customers have their own preference. So let them choose their preference and talk to you. And that's where we see SendQuick solution helps the customer. We have ready channels to all these channels, not only for notification, but also for inbound, right, for them to assist you in the whole process. We have omni-channel approach, right? Basically different channels for your customers. Now, of course, how fast do you respond to the engagement request? So not only the capable of channel, you have to actually respond to them quickly. And that's where, again, we see how it actually help our customer by aggregating all these channels into one single platform, where they can actually either send out or receive via a single platform. And that's how SendQuick can help our customers. So the transformation involves customers spends more time on social media today. Engagement needs to move to where customers are. Like I mentioned earlier on, they choose their own channels. They live in those channels, and as a business, we need to go where they are. Customers prefer to text than phone call. So today, there are definitely a lot more lesser phone call, I believe, in Indonesia as well, but a lot more texting either through SMS or apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, and many, many others. So SendQuick is the only product that you can have today that able to aggregate. Today, we aggregate about 14 channels, 14, including Teams, including WeChat or WhatsApp, into one single platform, whether it's on-premise or cloud, for two-way messaging. So whether it's for notifications, for alerts, or for customer engagement, SendQuick is the solution that can engage, that can actually allow you to reach out to all the different channels, right, and then integrate through API to all applications. Okay, so this is something that customers can very easily communicate with the companies through the product. And lastly, customer engagement needs to be omni-channel, because that's the only way to be closer to customers. There's no other option today, because customers today have so many choices in their communication channels. So like I mentioned earlier on, right? So SendQuick is the only platform today that can communicate with all the different channels, right? So this is just an example. Of course, we have the SMS text, we have the social channels like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, Line, and of course the collaboration tools. And I said, well, I don't need all this in Indonesia. Yeah, I know. But there are also people in Indonesia, like the Chinese community, like WeChat. The people who are working, they use Microsoft Teams. So there are all these channels available to you for different applications, for different purpose. So you may use SendQuick for alert notification to your engineers. You can be using Telegram, WhatsApp, or text, or also Teams, for example. But you can also use it for your customer communication through WhatsApp, through Facebook Messenger. And it all depends on your choices. And all these are readily for you to use. So in the whole process that we talk about, whether transactions, whether is it for service delivery, or whether is it for customer engagement, one thing is very important is that IT is at the remain of the heart of the things. Okay, so all these are depends on IT technologies, and for IT, you need to make sure that your systems flow or system management must always be there. You need to monitor the IT systems. Anything problem, notify. After you notify, you need to have response, right? Response so that you can rectify the problem. After rectify, then you get the continuous operation. So in the monitoring, you must first detect. So you need to put in the monitoring system. After you detect the problem, you need to set alerts. With the alerts, you need to have response, very timely response, and very robust rectification and continuous operation. So in your way of managing all this technology in your digital transformation, so communication via SendQuick come in the heart of all these things. So how do we help in the whole process? Same thing, monitor, notify, response, and the continued operation. In the monitoring side, you can actually use any monitoring system like your PRTG, your WhatsApp Go, and many others. But when it detects some problem, SendQuick comes in and we alert on your phone on all channels, right? Not only on SMS or Telegram, but every channels, whichever that your customers require. Okay, and SendQuick is the only product out in the market that have all these channels. But sometimes you have product that have one or two channels, but it may not be sufficient. And very important is the fallback. Okay, so SendQuick is the only product that if you're today using, let's say, like Telegram, WhatsApp, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but Telegram, WhatsApp requires the internet. If the internet fails, you will not able to send messages. So SendQuick is the only product that can send to Telegram, WhatsApp, and many others. At the same time, if internet fails, we can still send to SMS to SIM card to your phone. So if you have critical environment, this is the answer for you, because you cannot tolerate any luxury of time. Okay, because if you cannot also take the risk that, hey, no, this one will be there. It doesn't work that way. Okay, it's like buying insurance. You can take the risk that the problem will not happen to you. Right? It's always the Murphy's Law. You think it will happen, it will happen. Okay, so alerts on your phone on all channels for immediate response. So what happened after you know about the problem? The next thing is that you need to respond quickly, is to use the remote access to rectify immediately and securely. And that's where SendQuick comes in. SendQuick have the 2FA solution that works with all SSL VPN to ensure that you can achieve access to your network securely, with a secure remote access by performing two-factor authentication. And of course, lastly, is that to keep your customer informed and engaged through the omni-channel approaches, either for customer service, for supply chain management, and others. So even the very simple aspect of communication, it can play a very important role in your service delivery, in your customer engagement, in your IT response, and this whole thing helps to ensure that your organization's service availability is always there. Okay, just a quick snapshot, right? So the SendQuick allows you to get messages for all kinds of information, right? Whether it's IT, from your firewall, security, data center, you can receive messages through emails, SMTP trap, send messages to your SMS text, and also the messenger anytime, anywhere for your IT team. For secure remote access, your user who are accessing remotely to your network, they can actually access to your SSL VPN, but before they are granted access, they are actually being so-called authenticated to SendQuick, where they actually required to enter a second PIN, either through SMS OTP or soft token PIN to get to do a second level remote access to their network. So this actually ensure that whoever come into your network to do the work, whether is it for normal operations or for troubleshooting, is always the right person with the right credential and the right access. Okay, and SendQuick has for operational wise, right, you have the options of using for different applications. Can be for contact center, like I mentioned just now, for your customer services, for omni-channel engagement. It can be for your appointment reminders, confirmation, broadcast, OTP, so on and so forth. So the SendQuick has the API that can integrate to any applications, and you can send messages to the different channel, whether SMS or the omni-channel, right, to deliver information in two ways, between the application to the user or the user to applications, right? So this is how it can be integrated for many more applications in your organization. SendQuick has the different platform, but we have on-prem appliances for critical systems. We have cloud, we have virtual machine, and others. And of course, we have been doing for 20 years. We have customers in all over the world, including Indonesia, of course, Singapore, and we have many, many organizations that have been using SendQuick for a long time, right? And they have been trusting SendQuick to help them in the operations, whether for notifications, for alarms, for security, for operations, and many others. So I think as a summary for today's session is that in your digital transformation, right, technology is at the heart of the whole process. But instead of looking at all the things at one go, is to look at some of the processes that may impact your customers more that you need to transform first, right? Yes, there are constraints that Pak Frankie talked about in the earlier on, the reason for failure. So go small, don't have to go everything, choose a few sections, and choose technology that's not too expensive that can help in your process. And what I presented today, messaging technology is there. It's very affordable, right? It's easy to implement, and it's everybody using it. Right? There's no one in Indonesia, I think, they said, well, they're not using mobile phone or not using messaging. They're all using. So the opportunity is there to look at messaging and help you in your processes, in your digital transformation, in your transaction, in your service delivery, in your customer engagement aspect. So, and this is where SendQuick can help you working together in your whole digital transformation process. Thank you.
Ya, thank you, GS. Oke, rekan-rekan, kita akan masuk langsung ke sesi Q&A ya. GS, you want to stop the sharing first? Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me see ya. Okay, number one, I think the question from Pak Denny Rizky. Can the SendQuick integrate with the existing system in the company? Is there any limitation? Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think good question. Like SendQuick actually have a lot of APIs and integration format that can be used. Let me mention a few, right? You probably have noticed from the slide, I talked about email method, basically SMTP to SMS, SMTP to messaging. We talk about SNMP track, syslog. We have REST API including JSON, XML, HTTP post, SOAP, also available. We also have file transfer to SFTP. You can also use JDBC. Okay, so there are many formats already. And if you still need something that's not there, right, or maybe something more proprietary, you can always talk to us. We are the developer of SendQuick. We can still customize the integration for you. So the answer is yes, it's unlimited integration using all these integration formats.
Okay. The next question from Pak Denny Rizky, how about the security? Is the company need to prepare another protection to secure the system?
Okay, good question. Now, the security of the SendQuick is, let's look at SendQuick as a system itself. Like SendQuick as but it's a hardened appliance. Think of SendQuick like your switch. Do you buy a firewall for your switch alone? The answer is no. So you don't have to do that. Okay, so SendQuick by itself is a hardened appliances. It can sit together with your network and then sit together with your whether it's a DMZ or not, entirely up to you, right? You can just share the same firewall that you have. Now, the key question here is that, so do I need to have exposure for SendQuick when I send the messages? The answer is yes and no. It depends on your channel. If you choose the channel like Telegram or WhatsApp, which send to the internet, then yes, preferably you will have a firewall with for proxy for us to push out the messages because it's going to go through the internet. Okay, so that is definitely recommended, right? But if you say, well, what if I cannot afford to have exposure to internet? Your customers like the military, the government said, well, I don't want internet. Is it possible to send messages? The answer is yes. We use a 4G modem with a SIM card. The SIM card is transmitted through the wireless network, and there's no internet at all. So there's no security concern at all.
Yeah. Okay, the next question, let's see. Okay, the key point, what is the key point that if the company want to use the SendQuick solution, and what is the best practice?
Okay, SendQuick is a messaging system, right? So the key point that you want to use is when you want to put messaging as part of your business operations. Okay, so if you think that your business is required to send messages out for whichever application, it can be for OTP, it can be for reminders, can be for alerts, can be for notify your customer of transaction confirmation, anything they need to send messages out, right? Yes, SendQuick will come in. Okay, so I'll give you an example like in the hospital. So we have many hospitals using SendQuick, like in Singapore, Malaysia, other countries, where in the hospital say, how does hospital use SendQuick, right? So interestingly, we see application in hospital, like in the first part in the IT department, we use the SendQuick for IT notification. Okay, my system have problem. They use a SendQuick to send OTP for the doctor remote access. They use SendQuick to send reminder for patient appointment. They use SendQuick to send test results. Okay, so after you go for a hospital to do a test, the result won't come immediately, right? So you go back maybe 1 day or 2 days. This is a COVID result, right? It make 2 days. So they will send you a result. They don't send you the actual details. They send you to log into this portal and see your result. Okay, and they even go to extend, right? In Singapore now, we have what we call visitor management. So today in Singapore, you cannot just go up to visit to the ward anytime you want. They have a restriction. You must register, and every patient only allow 2 visitors at one time. So all these are controlled by the visitor management system. They send alerts to the visitor who are waiting for their turn to go up to the ward. So you just look at one example, like give you the healthcare. He said, hey, you know, you always thought the hospital only send appointment reminders, but there are so many other things that can be used. And it's the same they can see in different industries. So there are many opportunities. If you maybe we can always take this offline. If you have some ideas or some inquiry about your own industry, I can talk to you separately.
Yeah. Okay, the next question, let me see. Yeah, I will choose some related question only. Yeah. Okay, from Pak Lutfi, how do SMS inquiries to many applications at one instant? How should I do if the modem is not found or having problem?
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, there are actually 2 ways of your first part of question, how can SMS inquiry to many applications at one instant. Now, so what we do here is that we can actually do messaging routing. So when the SMS comes in, we can actually integrate to different applications simultaneously or through individual URL. So what I mean here is that we actually route incoming messages to your application API and your application handle from there. So whether your application handle as a single inquiry or multiple inquiry, really entirely up to you, right? So this actually can be handled. And again, all these API that I mentioned are 2-way. You can use API to go out and come in as well. So if you use the modem approaches, right, of course, modem are tied to individual numbers. If you only have one modem, if the modem is not available, yes, you will probably face a problem. That's why our SendQuick is ready to support expand up to 32 modems. Okay, so you give a customer flexibility and backup and also redundancy as well. So if you are worried about availability of your modem, then buy multiple modems, put different SIM from different carrier, one Indosat, one Telkomsel, and then you can just have different numbers redundancy.
Yeah. Okay, and I think we have some experience, yeah, in Indonesia, yeah. Okay. Let me see. Does SendQuick works on several e-commerce platforms on the same time? Is there an experience that SendQuick can work with the several e-commerce platform in the same time? Yes.
Well, I guess the definition of working here will be, are we able to integrate to the different platform? The answer is yes, because our API that I mentioned earlier on, especially using REST API, using SOAP, XML, JSON, and HTTP post, is that they are actually unlimited license, meaning that I can use the same API, integrate to platform 1, 2, and 3, and 4 simultaneously. So that is actually available. We can have it either as on-prem or virtual machines or on our cloud. So depending on how you want to implement, yes, it's possible. Okay, and then so when the different channels come in, actually route to the different application or your different e-commerce platform want to send broadcast out, you can just call the API available from the SendQuick to send the messages out simultaneously.
Okay. Okay, I think the next question from Pak Michael, about the service level that provided by the cloud service of the SendQuick.
Okay, so the cloud service wise, there are actually two options, right? So some customer who wants their own dedicated cloud, they can actually buy our virtual machine license and run it into your AWS license, for example. So that one, then your SLA is by your own AWS, right? For us, right, our SendQuick cloud, which is SendQuick ASP services, are actually running on AWS and also Ali Cloud, right? So a different platform. We provide different redundancy for ourselves, also for our customers, and our customer can choose which platform they want to use. So these are actually backed by I will call the top 4 cloud providers in the world. So they are well, honestly, we are only as good as they are. Okay, I can be very honest with that. But not only that, because we are multi-cloud, as I mentioned, we are AWS, we also have Ali Cloud, right? So both of them are very strong presence in Southeast Asia. I think particularly Ali Cloud. I think Ali Cloud has a lot more local presence in Southeast Asia than the top 3. The top 3 is Google, Azure, and AWS. So that gives us a much closer to the local organization in the local countries. Okay, so because we have both different instances in different locations. So it gives us greater redundancy for our customers. So today, we are, of course, on the promise level, we give 99.5, but I can say that we are almost 100% all the time.
Yeah. Okay, the next question from Pak Wahyu, can we customize SendQuick based on unique port on each server, service, and application for notification port number?
I need a bit more details on what you mean by port number, but SendQuick itself, on the hardware appliances, we have 4 ports, right? 4 ports on the system. So all these 4 ports can be different subnet. If you're referring to, can you connect to different 4 different subnet to send messages out? The answer is yes. Okay, so you can have 1 port on 192.168, the port on 10.10, the third port on 10.20. All your different subnet in the different network can talk to SendQuick and use the same SendQuick to send notification out for your requirement.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see again. Pricing comparison with other messaging system, WhatsApp, Telegram, etc. Pak Ikhlas Bahar.
Okay. The way we look at the messaging, basically, we can break it into 2 components, right? So one is a messaging system, one is the messaging delivery. The messaging system, this is where SendQuick comes in. Okay, just take WhatsApp for example, right? So if you want to send WhatsApp, you will need to have a system to able to carry your messages and transform your messages to fulfill the WhatsApp API to deliver to WhatsApp. Okay, so we are the system that help you to make that translation from your application to the WhatsApp format. So that is regardless of whether you use WhatsApp or whatever, you still need the application, and that's where SendQuick comes in. But on the carrying or the delivery side, whether it's WhatsApp or SMS, that's the delivery part of business. So for us, we are very clear. We are always able to differentiate. So if you want to use SendQuick or want to use my own WhatsApp, is it possible? The answer is yes, it's possible. We actually allow you to do that. Okay, so on that part of business, you can source, if you cannot get the cheapest from us, no problem. You source for the cheapest. The SendQuick is always ready to connect to the different delivery. Even for SMS, you said, well, can I use SendQuick? I want to use SMS by Telkomsel or Indosat. Yeah, no problem. Just get the API, configure the SendQuick, we can send. So we do not force you because we are not a pure play aggregator.
Yeah.
And so to us, aggregation delivery is just one part of the business. So our approach is that always think about our customer, which is you. What is the best for you? The best for you is not to lock you up, it's to give you the full flexibility.
Okay. The next from Pak Muhammad Hermawan Budi Wibowo. Is it possible SendQuick reporting the intrusion detection or SendQuick reporting the graphic of analog sensor like temperature or humidity?
Okay, so we are more on notification systems. Okay, so we can work with the sensor and all these things, but we will not be plotting the graph of the different temperature changes. But we will send you the information or alerts when your temperature go beyond a threshold. Okay, so we are not like I said, we are not a sensor device. We are actually a notification alert device. So typically we work with the IoT devices where they plot the channel, they plot the different graph, and then the threshold is 38 degrees. So you trigger 38 degrees, you pass the message to SendQuick. SendQuick will message out the alerts to your phone, or this right 38 degrees. Yeah, so we work that way.
Yeah. It means that there will be need to another sensor, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all, GS. I will pass again to Nurma for photo session before the closing remark.
Thank you, Pak Franky.
Nurma.
Oke, baik Bapak Ibu. Terima kasih atas pertanyaannya yang sudah masuk. Sebelum saya mengumumkan 3 orang terpilih pemenang voucher Oppo, kita akan foto bersama-sama terlebih dahulu. Mohon untuk dapat menyalakan kameranya.
Ayo silakan nyalakan kamera. Yes, there's a way to hear.
Yeah, I saw way. Yeah, hi.
Oke, silahkan menyalakan kameranya. Masih banyak yang belum menyalakan.
Pak Ikhlas, apa kabar Pak Ikhlas? Wah, lama nih nggak ketemu nih Pak Ikhlas nih.
Kabar Pak Franky,
Iya.
Oke.
Sekali ngisi dong Pak Ikhlas.
Siap Pak.
Saya hitung sampai 3 ya. 1, 2, 3. Sebentar.
Ya, belum?
Belum Pak, satu lagi. Ya, sudah Pak.
Oke, GS yang closing remark.
Okay, so I think first I'd like to thank the organizer and Pak Franky, right, for this opportunity. I think what we can learn from today's session is that digital transformation definitely will not be easy, and they will definitely bound to be failure, right? There will be challenges. So my advice or my opinion is to look at certain aspect of your business processes that it can be transformed, and look at, don't do everything, just do certain parts of it. Choose a technology that you are comfortable, but don't be too expensive. And then the most important is that how it actually impact to your customers, and look at the outcome. So I've just presented about using communication technology because it's readily available, it's affordable, right? And it actually doesn't need to be too complicated for implementation. And SendQuick is a solution that you can consider, and we presented to you 3 possible options of how to actually use by different organizations.
Yes. Thank you so much, GS Wong again. I hope you get well very soon.
Should be soon.
Ya. So, jadi Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan ya, jadi menarik sekali apa yang disampaikan oleh GS ya. Jadi kegagalan transformasi digital juga dapat kita minimize dengan kita memilih terlebih dahulu poin-poin atau titik mana yang menjadi fokus untuk melakukan transformasi digital ya. Dan salah satu yang di-highlight tadi oleh JS Wong dan SendQuick adalah terkait dengan communication atau messaging yang menjadi salah satu key point dalam transformasi digital di era saat ini ya. Jadi saya mengundang kembali rekan-rekan untuk bisa hadir di kegiatan kita minggu depan ya. Kalau yang dari Jakarta silakan datang besok ke DTICX di JCC Jakarta. Kami ada di sana. Kemudian apabila webinar nanti silakan bergabung lagi di tanggal 9, 10, 11. Kita ada kegiatan webinar lagi masih lanjut tentang transformasi digital ya. Again, GS Wong, thank you very much. And we will see you again in the next event ya. I hope we can meet you again physically ya, either in Jakarta or in Singapore ya.
Yes,
Thank you GS
definitely.
from SendQuick ya.
Thank you, everyone.
Silakan saya kembalikan ke Mbak Nurma.
Oke, terima kasih Pak Pangki. Saya akan mengumumkan 3 orang terpilih pemenang voucher Oppo. Yang pertama Pak Wahyu Wijaya, ada Pak Wahyu?
Ada.
Selamat ya Pak Wahyu.
Makasih.
Yang kedua Pak Bagus Jody Fitriawan, ada Pak Bagus?
Ada.
Selamat
Terima
ya Pak Bagus.
kasih.
Ya, selamat ya Pak Bagus. Yang terakhir Pak Muhammad Hermawan Budi Wibowo, ada?
Ada, Bu.
Selamat ya Pak Budi. Selamat kepada tiga orang pemenang voucher Oppo. Nanti akan kami hubungi secara acara ini selesai. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu atas partisipasinya. Terima kasih Mr. J.S. Wong. Terima kasih Pak Pangki. Sampai jumpa. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you GS.
Ya,
terima kasih semua rekan. Ya, sampai bertemu di webinar selanjutnya.
Terima
Terima kasih semua. Thank you all.
Terima kasih Mbak Nurma.
Ya, sama-sama.
Pak
Terima kasih,
Pangki.
Pak.
Ya,
Selamat
sama-sama,
sore.
Pak.
Assalamualaikum.
Sore. Ya, Waalaikumsalam.